What's going on, guys? Xions352 here, and I am back finally after 4 days of not uploading. I've been really sick. My throat's been sore and everything, and I've lost my voice for a long time. It's still kind of gone, but I was feeling well enough to record today, and I had this idea in my head thanks to Yonder Gaming. And I wanted to do it, and I wasn't really sure how, but he said go for like a little tutorial bit on how you play or how you set up your ARC game, and I thought that'd be a really cool idea. So I'm gonna tell you how I set up my my survival settings, my ARC settings, and why this works for me and why it might work for you as well if you're just starting to get into ARC, and or if you just you want to just get into the game and just not have to worry about your health and whatnot. So I'm sorry if my voice cracks, but yeah, it happens just like that. But with that being said, let's get right into it. Okay, so starting off is the difficulty. I have this at 0.2, and no, that's not a Kingdom Hearts reference. It really is at 0.2. I find this is a good difficulty to play on. Although you will find low-level dinosaurs and animals. That's really okay to me. That doesn't really bother me too much because you can always level them up as high as you want, or as high as as high as they will go eventually. But it's a good level to play on when you're just looking for an animal to tame and things like that. So that's why I have the difficulty set the way it is. Now for dino damage and player damage, dino damage I have at 1.0. And same goes for like the difficulty settings. It makes it a little bit easier to kill the animal if you're being attacked and you're having a hard time. It's a good setting to have it at because it's just it'll help you survive just a little bit quicker. Now as for player damage, I have it at 1.5 or 1.6. And this ensures that you don't take as much damage when you are actually being hit by something. Now, I know you're probably like, why can't you just leave it at the normal settings? But I find this a lot easier, and that is because that way it gets things done quicker. If you're in a bind and you're being attacked by two animals at once, you pull out your crossbow and you're good, because you're not losing that much damage. Now, I mostly play on a private server that I have to myself or with my friends, but I have structure resistance at 1.0, player resistance at 1.0, structure damage at 1.0, and dino resistance at 1.0, and I left those kind of the way they were just because I didn't want to cheat entirely. You could still die from the cold, you can still die from the heat and things like that. Now the XP multiplier I have at 3.0, and the reason I have it at 3.0 is because when you hit a certain level in the game, when you get to like, I think it's like level 50 to 57, it starts slowing down on your level ups. And if you increase this to 3.0 and a little bit higher, when you start to get into the higher levels, like level 50 up to level 75, let's say a 75 to 80, it will still be giving you level ups, so you can actually level up your character and increase your health even more, and your stamina and your speed and things like that, because it does tend to slow down when you get into the higher levels. So that's why I keep it at 3.0. Now the taming speed I have at 1.0. I have tried to fiddle with it and see if there's any differences if you higher it or lower it. If you higher it, I know it does take a lot longer to tame something. But if you leave it at 1.0 or maybe a little bit lower, it will take just a little bit less time to tame something. That being, of course, it does depend on what you're trying to tame, depending on how big the animal or the dino is. So we have to take that for an account as well. But 1.0 seems to be the decent setting when it comes to taming speed. Next up is the structure repair cooldown. I don't exactly know what this is or what this does. I think it has something to do with like when you're putting up a wall or a roof or something, and how long it takes to, I guess, repair something, or or maybe when you're building a hatchet or something, you know, some sort of item of clothing or a tool. That's how long it takes to repair something. I don't really know exactly, but I just kind of left it at that. Up next is Dino Turret damage and Dino Harvest damage. Now the Dino Turret damage I left at 1.0. Looking back at it now, I probably should higher it because it is, I think it's based off a turret gun. And I think that's depending on, you know, how much damage it does to a creature if they're attacking you. On one of the rafts that I have a shit ton of turrets, and it took out so many manta rays. But I probably should have hired up the damage now that I think about it. Now for Dino Harvest, I have it 3.5, and excuse me, the reason I have it at 3.5 is depending on the creature that you're using to harvest things, depending on what their weight is, they will harvest a lot more. Like say a Bronto would harvest a lot more than a Parasaur would. And 3.5 is, I guess, the, you know, right now my current maximum of harvesting for items. Alright, so let me correct myself a little bit. The harvest damage is, I think, how much damage your dinosaur does when you're harvesting items, like how long it takes to actually gather the items. And as for harvest amount, the harvest amount is at 1.3, and that is how many items you actually collect when you are actually going and harvesting your items, like rocks and berries and things like that. So, little correction there. Now, here comes the really important part, and that's the food drain and water drain. And the character food drain is at 1.0, and the character water drain is at 1.0. And that is because it's just a good idea to have them low. Trust me, I've died plenty of times and I've experimented with it high, and it'll fuck you over if you do not have it at least in the middle or lower, because it's ridiculous how much you lose your health. Now, you know, I mean, if you want, you can always just play with the normal settings. That's fine. That's your opinion. That's how you play. You know, whatever. But the reason why I keep the water and food drain low is because when you're starting out in the game, you know, you have nothing. You have to build everything, either from scratch or cheat a little bit like I do and use the admin codes if you want to get yourself started. But, you know, that's entirely your own opinion. You can do whatever the hell you want. But I like to keep this low because I feel that when you're first starting out, it's a good idea to just to get a feel of the game, to to know what you're doing, to learn how to play, and manage your items and things like that. And that way you don't have to go sticking your head in the lake every 20 minutes or 20 seconds, or trying to look for some berries when there's nowhere, there's none to be found, or trying to cook up some meat when you can't even make a fire pit. So that's why I keep these pretty low, so that you're able to survive a little bit longer to actually get stuff done, like building a house at least, and then a fire pit, so then you can at least cook the food and find the food without dying first. As for the dino water drain, I keep that at 115. I don't really see any kind of difference or change in the dino's food and water too much, so I would just leave that as is for now. Now the character's stamina drain, you also want to keep pretty low as well. I have that at 1.0 as well. The dino character's stamina I have at 115, just like the food drain for it. But the character stamina drain is what you want to focus on the most. You're going to lose a lot of stamina when you're running back and forth gathering items. So you want to have that stamina up pretty good. Trust me, I've passed out quite a bit. It works to have it low. I have my character health recovery as 115 as well. It's a good idea to have it at 115, or maybe a little bit in the middle, I guess. It comes in handy when you're running and you fall off a cliff, or you're running and you fall and hurt yourself. Your health will recover a lot quicker. That way it doesn't take such a long time to recover your health back once you've actually hurt yourself a little bit. Trust me, it will happen. Dino character recovery I've left at 1.0 because you can easily just level up their health. Honestly, the dinosaurs level up a lot quicker than your character sometimes, so it's okay to leave it where it is at the moment. And last on this list is player harvesting damage, and I suppose that's how much items you actually you take down, or how long it takes to, say, chop down a tree or a rock or something, and how many items you get from the item itself that you're chopping down to get materials from. So I keep that at about, I guess, 1.3, I think. And I mean, it really depends on how you want to go about it. If you're fine leaving it as is, then leave it as is. But I guess it really all depends on what works for you. So well, guys, that is all I have time for today. My throat is starting to hurt, so I'm gonna go relax now. But I'll leave the world and baby imprinting to what you want. I did kind of go into it and change it up a tiny bit to make the imprinting go a little bit faster. I don't remember exactly what I used, but it doesn't really matter what you do to the imprinting. It's still gonna go kind of slow, so that doesn't really matter. That's why I didn't really cover it in this video. But I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope I have made the game a little bit more fun for you. So with that being said, I hope you all have enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy, and subscribe for more like things like this and other game content. And I will see you guys next time.